rowboat that he built the boat himself. He had a bathroom constructed out of wood and set on the ground there over a pit.
Mm-hmm.
That was his plumbing system for the toilet.
Hmm.
Hey, that sounds good.
Sorry, had to run the rabbit off.
Where was I?
Talking about Grandpa Ackerman,
In his plumbing system?
his plumbing,
Yeah.
and the fishing.
Yeah, go fishing once in a while. At that time, that lake area had flowers and lily pods and plants of very unique plants that grew only in that place. A lot of large lily pods on top of that lake,
Mm-hmm.
all over it, and a lot of the places anyway. I imagine they're all gone now.
Hmm.
There were no motorboats at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Nice.
really can't think of it. Maybe a few of them started coming in at about that time. Years later, the place was swamped with motorboats. It was a gorgeous area.
So you were essentially a city boy that
Right.
got some time out in the country, I guess, huh?
Right.
That's nice. And did he take all the kids with him?
All of our kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He drove his car into a ditch one night and hit a lamppost. And on the way home from Fox Lake, where he'd been refreshing himself with a few beers. Then on another occasion, when he was 54 years old, he hit must have been another lamppost, but that one nearly killed him. He broke his sternum and smashed him up very badly. He recovered from that, and he lived to be about 73. He, sometime after the war, probably right after the war, he went to Seattle, Washington to live with his son George. He stayed out there until he died. My Uncle George had been in the Merchant Marine during the war. He said that Seattle, Washington was the prettiest place he'd ever been, and he'd been all over the world. And he settled there.
Hmm. Wow. So, tell me about your mother in your childhood.
She was a devoted mother who would, like any alcoholic's wife, would have bouts of mild insanity, you know. I remember her telling us one day at lunch that she'd wished we'd never been born, because things were so damn tough for her at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's quite a jolt to get hit with that.
Yeah.
But she was very hardworking. Very concerned about our welfare. She was great at retailoring hand-me-down clothes I'd gotten from uncles and
Oh yeah.
from other places. She'd cut them down to fit me.
Do you have a sewing machine?
She had a sewing machine. She was that sort of thing.
With the foot pedals?
Right.
Yeah.
Old Singer.
Mm-hmm. Singer sewing machine.
Right.
So she came from a family with a lot of drinking, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure. Her mother died at birth, I think.
Hey, Mom. Night-night.
I think her mother may have died when she was 4 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then she was sent to live with other families. I don't know much about that.
So they met through your aunt, I guess?
Yeah.
Hmm.
She and my mother worked together for, I don't know, maybe a year or so.
So how about you coming up in that neighborhood? You were kind of a tough guy?
And, I would like to have been, but I learned how to box a little bit. I was on the boxing team at St. Philip's High School for a while. But they only had they only had 3 bouts for the year with the team.
Mm-hmm.
But a friend of mine was an avid amateur boxer, Henry Rivera, and he always had me in the gym, and I was always working out, training with him from the age of about 15 to 16, 17.
So you got in a lot of amateur bouts, I guess?
5 of them.
5 amateur bouts?
Mm-hmm.
With headgear?
No,
No headgear?
no.
So what's your record?
3 and 2.
All right, you got a winning record.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember their names?
The boxers? One guy was named Sweeney. Guy built like Jimmy Sullivan, tall, stringy. Seemed like he's about a foot taller than me. 126 pounds.
What was your fighting weight?
Same thing,
About the same.
120 to 126.
So did you, any knockouts?
No,
You get knocked out?
no,
Just points?
Yeah.
3 round fights?
yeah.
Wow. Did you fight later in the Marine Corps?
I had one bout in the Marine Corps. And a friend of mine wanted to get into boxing matches they were scheduling, so I took him down there to help him train, and I wound up getting involved in the boxing.
What's the hardest you ever got hit?
Enough to, another one would have put me in, stretched out for good, I'm sure.
Is that right?
Yeah. In training,
In training?
yeah.
Yeah. Sparring? So did you do a lot of sparring?
I don't know. Not really.
A lot of running?
No.
Just hitting the bag and stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think I ever did any running in connection with boxing.
So then you went into high school.
I was already in high school.
You were in high school at that time, yeah. So you smoked when you were younger, right?
I started smoking when I was about 18, or actually about 13, 12 or 13, and smoking here and there wherever I could sneak in, but my parents were pretty rough on me, so I didn't really get smoking full time till I was about 18.
They didn't want you to smoke.
No.
Did they smoke?
Yeah.
So you remember your first drink?
No.
No,
No, we always had beer in the house, and my father always said that the reason we wouldn't have any trouble with drinking is because he taught us how to drink sensibly. So we drank just as sensibly as he and his brothers did.
Wow. And you had to go to church every week?
Yeah, I had to go to church every week.
Did they take it?
Not very often anyway.
Seems to be the pattern.
I had my grandfather, my father's father, he died when I was 12 years old, but I always thought he was the rottenest prick that ever lived. And then I grew up to be him.
This was your grandpa.